Hi, I'm Matt, and today we're going to look at two of the most popular fishing kayaks that Hobie do. We're looking at the PA12 and the Outback. We're going to put them head to head and we're going to see which one comes out in front. When you look at the stats of these two kayaks, there's a couple of numbers that really jump out. The first being the mass of the PA. It's a touch over 10 kilos heavier, and then the second and most obvious is the cost. At nearly $1,000 more, is it really worth it? Well, let's put them head to head and find out. So even though the PA is shorter overall, it's got more room where you want it. So from here where your back sits to full leg extension there is 120 centimeters, whereas the Outback's 115. And 5 centimeters, you mightn't think it's much. Well, you'll soon see how much room that actually gives you. All right, so what about the Outback? Like I mentioned earlier, it's 5 centimeters less length, but let's see how it looks. So still quite comfortable. You know, just not as much room. I guess if you're really tall, this might be a bit of a problem, especially on an extended trip. All right, so when you're looking at room inside the kayak, look, they're both very similar in length. However, the PA, where it shines and it's clearly ahead, is in the beam. It's got around 20 centimeters more room between the gunnels. So between here and here. As you can see, pretty obvious, and it really does make a difference when you're on the water. This is probably the main advantage of the Pro Angler over the Outback, is just how stable it is when you're standing up fishing. Look, you can stand up fine in the Outback, it's just not as stable. And I guess it comes back to the beam and the cathedral type hull design of the Pro Angler. Fantastic for stand-up fishing. As you can see, the kayak's really stable, no problems at all reaching down to adjust the rudder or to even give a little bit of a push with the pedal to keep us going. However, in practical terms, look, I don't really find myself doing this often. If I'm fishing structure for like mangrove jack, barramundi, even brim, you really need to be sitting down so that you can make those constant rudder adjustments. So in this case, look, there's not really a clear advantage between the PA and the Outback because you're going to be sitting down anyway. Maybe you do a lot of fishing over sandbanks though. Maybe you're drifting over a bank like I am here, flicking for flathead or sight fishing for trevally, and that's where standing up is a massive advantage. So how do these two kayaks compare when it comes to storage and capacity? Well, as you can see, there's a lot more room in the bow hatch in the PA. As you'd expect, it's a lot beamier. It also has more capacity at 227 kilograms as opposed to 181 in the Outback. Look, personally, after fishing from both of these kayaks for a couple of years, I've never had any problems with capacity. There's always plenty of room to put everything that I need. The only challenge that you might have is if you plan on doing camping trips where you're going to be carrying tents, water and things like that, you might be looking towards the PA just for that extra capacity. When it comes to storage at the back of the kayak, the Pro Angler has a little bit more. If you were to represent it in square centimeters, it's got a little bit over 5,500, whereas the Outback's a little bit over 3,300, and you can easily fit a live well in both of these kayaks. When we put these two kayaks head to head in how they perform on the water, it was really quite surprising to see how nimble the Pro Angler is. It feels like it's a lot bigger kayak, however, when you put it into a turn, as you can see in the footage, it turns a lot quicker. Now, I guess that's because the flippers are a lot closer to where the rudder is, whereas in the Outback, the flippers and the rudder, because it's right on the stern, it's a lot longer, so it just takes that little bit more to turn. This is another spot where you don't want to be dragging your PA. Got the Outback today. It's just that little bit narrower, just seems to get through the track. Always good to have good footwear on as well when you're dragging through the bush. I like the sandal variety, it's always good. Alright, so in summing up, I guess it really comes down to the type of fishing that you're doing. If you're out in these open canal areas, or you're going to be going into open areas where it's not very tight, look, you can't go past the PA. There's plenty of room, it's really stable, stand-up fishing, piece of cake. However, if you're going to be dragging it through the bush, maybe over some logs in small creeks, look, you can't go past the Outback. Either way, they're both fantastic kayaks. I love fishing from either one of them, and you can't really go wrong. Thanks for watching, and it'd be great to hear which of these two kayaks you think is best and why. And until next time, Have a good one.